Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, she is a 10-time All-American and 2-time Big 12 Conference Swimmer of the Year for the University of Texas. She's a world champion and 5-time world championship medalist. And most recently, she is a med student at UT. Today, we're sitting down with Madisyn Cox. Madisyn, how's it going?
Hey, Coleman, it's going well.
You recently announced your retirement, I think within the last month or so. I'm wondering how this decision came about for you and how recent this actually was, if you had been in the pool for a while or if you had kind of stepped away from the pool, but ultimately made the decision more recently.
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess it was almost a month ago now, announced my retirement. And so after trials, I took a couple months off. I was just, focusing on myself. I was moving to Houston, getting ready for medical school. We do have an incredible pool here. And so it's at our rec center. So I would swim there every once in a while. And, at the beginning it was a little hard because, it's a weird transition of life, like it's completely changing like my identity, who I was, or not really who I was, but, how I perceived myself and how the world perceived me too, I guess. New friend group, everything like that. So I would swim here and there, and swimming and the pool has always been my place of like kind of my happy place. Like I've always loved the sport. I've loved training, I've loved competing, every single aspect of it I loved. So just kind of getting back to that was interesting. And then training here and there. And then I guess this year I just thought, med school is always what I've wanted to do with long-term career. I think I need to just, officially hang up the cap and goggles and pursue this. And, it really does. Med school takes every single second of your day. And so, just being able to focus on my studies and staying happy and all that.
Med school and the SwimSwam podcast is all you have time for.
Yeah, just about.
Are you in Houston right now?
Yes. Yeah. So it's UT. I am in UT Medical School, but it's UT Houston. Yes. Yeah.
I had no idea. You were in Austin for, I don't know, the better part of a decade, or maybe that's way too long. 5 years, 6 years?
8 years.
Okay.
8 years I was in Austin for.
So what do you think of Houston? What has that transition been like?
It's been good. I was actually a little nervous for it because Austin is so near and dear to my heart that I was afraid to move and leave my friends. I have a sister there. Houston is incredible. The medical center is unparalleled. That's one of the reasons I chose to come here for medical school, is the resources and opportunities that it would provide, being in the medical center. And I do also have a sister here, which is great. But I was really worried about the weather. I know it's only, 2.5, 3 hours from Austin, but I just, in my mind, Houston was so gloomy and rainy all the time. And you know what I've realized since moving here is that you don't even notice the weather when you don't go outside. So when you're just cooped up studying along in your room, it doesn't matter if it's raining and it's nice outside. You just kind of look out and you're like, oh, nice. Okay. And then you go back to studying.
Weather. I remember that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's been actually a nice transition. Houston has a bunch of great food places, great people. My other sister is here. I think I said that. And she just had a baby. So I have a little nephew here as well. So, I take breaks and go hold him and hang out with them. So it's really nice.
Oh, well, that's great then. So on the physical side of things, are you still swimming at all? Are you missing that lifestyle of being an athlete and training and focusing on that aspect of yourself?
Yes and no. I think I miss the people in swimming. Right? Like I miss going to 5 a.m. practice and seeing Carol and the team and like all those great people and just like it's just so heartwarming. But I feel, the other aspect of it that's, training and preparing yourself for like peak performance. I feel as though I don't miss that as much because I am still doing that just in a different regard. So I'm still like, I still feel like I'm going into battle every day, like you go in, you like do your absolute best, and then, the day's over and you prepare yourself for the next day. And I still kind of see school like that. Most of the decisions I make are around, okay, is this going to optimize my studying? Is this going to optimize my focus and, everything like that. So I do feel that sense of I guess accomplishment still, but I do miss the people and yeah, and Carol and Mitch in particular, and then going to meets and seeing, I see all the social media and I'm like, oh, like the first day of the meet is always the best when you see people you haven't seen in so long, and it's just like this little reunion and you're so happy. And I definitely miss that. I think that's the hardest thing to come to terms with a transition like this.
Yeah. Did you see the video? I think Emma Stickland posted it of everyone, the whole UT women's team dressing up as Carol for Halloween.
Yeah, I know. I love that. That was like what like that example right there of just things I see that I'm like, oh, I love. I mean, I just like the Texas swimming team just has a special place in my heart. And they're just incredible people through and through. And I definitely miss being able to train with them every day and just being with them. And yeah, Emma Stickland was like, she was incredible. I'll never forget little freshman Emma, scared and timid, and now she's like just kind of growing into her own, and I mean doing incredible things in the pool too. So I think it's exciting to see, and I'm not like resentful of it. I'm just more so like, oh, sad, but also like I'm happy that they're happy, and that Leah Smith is there now. That's one thing I actually am a little envious that I never got to be there and train with her. I did a lot of training camps with Leah. Like we trained together a ton, but it would have been so great to actually live in Austin and be able to train with her and the team.
Dude, no kidding. I mean, yeah, it seems like they've got a pretty special group going there right now. I do have to ask, after watching that video, which is the best piece of media I've seen all year by far, is Slop City something Carol actually says?
Oh yes, Slop City. She usually it's in the context of if you get a number like during taper, you get a number like 3K or something like that. She doesn't want to see Slop City. She wants it actually to be like focused. Or there's also Cruise Town, Vanelli. There's a whole different little like language that Carol speaks, and I think I just didn't even realize it because you're around her for so long and you just kind of accept it, and then you forget in moments like this and people ask you what it means and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's not a term that other coaches use. That's very unique to Carol.
That's awesome. Thank you for that valuable intel. 'Cause, yeah, I couldn't get over that. That like just seeing that made my day. It was so
Yeah.
funny. So again, looking back on your swimming career, people number one. But looking back on the memories of your personal swimming, is there anything that stands out to you? Just as when you look back, it's like this is very memorable for me, of what you were able to accomplish or the experiences you were able to have within your own performances.
Yeah, I think the things that are most memorable are more of the team memories. Like my own performances, I mean, great. Like I have a lot of races that I'm very like proud of myself for, but I think the best moments, like the memories that bring me the most joy are the times that, like we did something as a team, or like relay swims were always my favorite, even though I wasn't, a huge relay swimmer. I love thinking about back to NCAA relays and like just hugging, like finishing that relay and being like, okay, we did that for the team. We got those points. One of my favorite memories will always be the Texas Georgia dual meet when we were at Georgia, and It was really special because, as I think most people know, Carol came from Georgia, and it was just a really great environment that meet was. I think the bleachers were like sold out, which for a dual meet is like, I mean, that's just like that never happens. It's very rare. So I think we were stoked to have that energy, and then also just like be able to compete for Carol. I remember we were so tired and we were so exhausted from that week of training, but all of us just like laid it out. And some people went like best times at that dual meet, like completely untapered, no shave, no anything, no racing suits. It was just swimming like out of heart and like passion. And I think those are the memories that have stuck with me and will continue to stick with me. And I think, I mean, there's some personal swims out there too, but I think all in all, it's just those team memories, or even memories like I remember when Tasia broke our 200 backstroke record for the first time. Like I'll never forget like where I was, like all those emotions that went into it. I think that those are the happy memories, like her getting out of the water and like just embracing her with a hug. And I think those are very special to me.
Yeah. I'm just gonna ask some basic swimmer questions. These aren't that deep, but throughout your career, did you have a favorite event, or did that event change?
I think it was always the 200 IM. I love the 200 as much as I like tried to make myself into other things. Like I did, there was a period in there that I like loved the 200 free or 200 breaststroke, but the 200 IM is just, it's so unique. And I think it's the perfect, it's not a sprint, but it's not long distance, and you get to switch up every stroke. The race is very dynamic. People are, there's a lot more, and not, there's not strategy to other races. I just think the 200 IM is like particularly strategy oriented race, I guess. So, I think, yeah, that would probably be my favorite from beginning to end. I love the 200 IM.
Do you have a favorite time you swam the 200 IM, or a race where you were like, okay, I executed that just the way I wanted to, or I executed that, perfectly for the time that you swam it?
Yeah. I don't think there's ever a time where I like execution was perfect. Like there was always something that we walked away from. We would watch film, we would do stroke counting, and we'd say, okay, this needs to be better, or we need to do this. So I think that was also why I was able to swim for so long and be so content with like the process, is because there was always something to focus on. It was never like, okay, great, let's just repeat that. It was always, okay, let's focus on this. Let's do sets that help you, like increase the glide and breaststroke so that you can decrease the strokes taken so that you can have more energy for the freestyle, like just little things like that. But I will say one of my favorite races is, and I don't even remember which pro swim it was. I want to say maybe Iowa. And it was a fine time. I think it was a good time for the season. It was right after COVID, and Melanie Margalis and I tied, like exactly tied. And I think that is one of my happiest memories, because we were both just like so happy for each other. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a fun meet in general, because it was, one of the first meets back. And so we were all just happy to see each other and just like happy to race, like just grateful for the opportunity to race. And so that I think looking back is one of my more fond 200 IM memories.
Yeah. I certainly remember that time period of just being like, we get to go to meets again.
Mm-hmm.
But like I personally did not get to go to Des Moines, but I got to go to the next one in Mission. I think it was in Mission, but that was, it was super cool. It was obviously a very weird time. I know we've talked about that a lot, but I guess looking back now, do you feel like that extra year of 2021, you either gained something or lost something, or maybe both, within your swimming, just having that one extra year of, not being able to do a lot, and then being pushed back and being able to do all of it kind of immediately?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely a challenging year. And I think, everyone was facing their own unique challenges. We got kicked out of our pool and our weight room, and we had to adjust, had to go home for a good bit of time. And I don't know necessarily what I like I can't pinpoint it specifically because who knows what things would have looked like and how things would have shaken out if that year didn't happen. But I know like there are things that I'm grateful for, such as like having that year with Mitch. He came along, and I think he's one of the reasons that like that year I was able to like keep my head above water. I was supposed to be in medical school that year. I had to defer medical school for a whole year and like put that part of my life on hold in order to pursue my swimming goals. And I think like in normal circumstances, that would have been really hard to mentally like come to terms with and like stay happy and stay like motivated. But having Mitch there like really helped just change things like new, like just fresh eyes and fresh like perspective. And same with the freshmen, it was just so great having like new people around, and everyone just kept it fun. Like it was just like fun group of people. It was like Kelly Pash and EV5, like we just had so much fun, and Joanna and Remedy, and like we had that little like pro group that we just got to be with. And so we made the most of it. And who knows, what I gained in swimming. I think I was, that I did become a better swimmer that year. And but who knows how things would have shaken out if I didn't take that year. And now being in med school, I also think, like if I had gone straight into medical school without taking that year, I wouldn't have the friends that I have now. I wouldn't, it would have been, everything would have been different. I started my MPH degree, so I wouldn't have been as far along with that curriculum. So everything, I think it happened, and it worked out the way it could. I don't think I have any regrets either way. I think I just need to, I just had to accept what it was, and as did everyone else. And you kind of just make the most of it and move on. And you do your best.
Yeah. Which you did literally in the last like month of racing. For you, there was a meet at UT like 3 weeks before trials ish.
Mm-hmm.
And you went 3 best times.
Mm-hmm.
What made that meet hit for you? What made it to where you were just on?
I don't even know if I was on, because we weren't really tapered at all. And I think it was just like I was just swimming, knowing it was my last time racing at the TSC, and knowing it was my last time with that full group. We had a select group that went to trials, but it was my last time racing with some of those girls. And I think I was just kind of taking it in and just being grateful for the opportunity and just having fun. Like that's all it was. It was just me having fun and just racing. It was there was no stress. There was, if it went well, it went well. If it didn't, it didn't. It was just free racing, and like I said, having fun and enjoying the process. So I think that's what it was. I really have no idea. That's funny that you say that, because I didn't actually realize that. I really did. I went best times. I was very happy with that meet, and I think more than anything, I was just excited for what it could have meant going into trials, and it meant I was in a good space. Mentally and physically. So I think it was definitely a fun meet.
Yeah. So then carrying that through 2 trials, can you just tell me about your experience at trials and how you were feeling mentally there, how you were feeling physically there, and again, having some time to digest all of it, kind of looking back, how you processed your experience at that meet?
Yeah. So trials was fun. Like I said, we were with a great group the entire time. The whole year we were with a great group, and so I was very fortunate. I think trials really started with the I forget what it was called, like, but the meet before trial, the trials qualifier meet, that was in Omaha, and if you wanted, you got to move on to trials. So trials for me started with Emma Stickland, freaking just rocking that meet, and we had other swimmers too. I mean, it was awesome to watch. I remember like we put it up on our big screen TV at our house every night and would just watch it and just see all the fast swimming. And I think that was really exciting. And then I was just so grateful that we were going to be able to have Emma there at the meet. And then getting to trials, it was great. Like I said, like the first day of a meet is incredible. And we had a couple days where I just got to see everyone, say hi, and just kind of hang out. And yeah, and then the meet started. as with the extra year, you think back at things and you're like, okay, do I regret things? Do I wish they would have gone differently? Yeah. I mean, I probably would have changed things if I could go back. I probably wouldn't have swam the 400 IM. I've never really loved that event. I actually hate the 400 IM. I tried to convince myself that I love it. But I think I was secretly just like trying to overcome fears. And I wish I had just kind of swallowed my pride with that one and not swim the 400 IM, but it is what it is. And but I still had a great time. I went to finals that night. I got to sit with Natalie in the stands, hang out with her, cheer on, friends, teammates, everything like that. And Evie Pfeiffer was in the race, always cheering for her and wanting to see the best for her, because I know, she's my direct training partner. So I know, how hard she had worked, and I wanted to see that pay off for her, which it did. And it was great to see. And then 200 IM came around. I was feeling fine, feeling great. I actually felt really good in the water. I honestly don't know what happened. It was just not my race, not my day, which that's the nature of the sport, right? Like that's what it kind of all boils down to. And I think after that, I think I got on a plane. Everything's a blur, honestly. I don't remember much. I think I got on a plane the next day. Yeah, my best friend, Tasia Croses, flew with me to Lubbock and then went home and started processing things. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else. That was trials. It was fun until it wasn't fun.
Yeah. Do you look back on that with any sort of way now? Just knowing that you were that close to a goal you had been chasing for a long time and didn't. I mean, trials is just like so cut and dry, right? Like you had a great performance, you swam a really good time, but that didn't equate to that certain goal that you had been chasing for so long. Do you look back on that now with any sort of feeling or emotion?
Yeah, definitely some feeling and emotion. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's tough. It sucks. And I mean, that's just the way life goes though, right? Like you can put your all into something and it just doesn't work out, or something can happen to you that for no reason, you can test positive for a dumb multivitamin you take, like life just happens. And I would have done things differently, but it was meant to be.
Yeah. So now, are you swimming at all? Just recreationally or otherwise?
Sometimes, yeah, I do. My sister actually just got a house with a pool, so I prefer to swim there when it's like private, get my own place, just kind of go back and forth. I still love the water. Like nothing can beat the feeling of just like swimming, like just like I don't know. I've always loved like just submerging and just like taking it in, and just like I've always had, like Carol gave it to us actually, or taught us it, just little grateful moments, just like closing your eyes and like, this feels great. Like being one, you feel like one with your body and like mind, emotions, everything. And I think the pool, helps elicit that like connectivity more than anything for me. So, I like to go and swim, but, speaking of, studying and having limited time, it's really hard to go swim because you have to, factor in the time to the pool. Okay. Then you actually get time swimming, but then you have to change, dry off, and then come back. And so it's a lot more efficient to just go on a run, hop outside. I run a lot. I ran a marathon in March of last year. So I find it that running is a little bit more efficient use of my time, but I do still swim, and especially like during tough times, I think it's still like my go-to happy place, or it's just place to like get away from everything and just kind of escape and yeah.
Are you one of those people who just didn't train and ran a marathon and then just did it?
Yes, but unintentionally. So I thought,
of course.
so all my teammates and I at Texas, everyone in my class and a couple classes ahead of us, signed up for this marathon. It was the Myrtle Beach Marathon. We were just like, oh, it'll be somewhere fun to go run. And so we all signed up. The race was in March, and I was like, okay, I'll train. Yeah. I don't know who I thought I was, thinking I had time to train for a marathon while in medical school. So I ran a half marathon in January, the Houston half, but I actually got like a little knee injury from it because I hadn't even trained for that. And so up until about a week before the marathon, I was like, I can't do this. Like my knee is not good. But I had signed up for it right after trials, and I was like, this is something that I like wanted to do. And it was just like in my mind that I had to do this thing. So I ran it. My knee hurt for about the first 13 miles. It just went numb after that. So that was great, good and bad. I'm not sure. The next 13 miles were quite rough. But I never stopped. I never walked. I completed the marathon. I will never do one again without training. But it was fun, and like it was mostly just great to be with my friends and teammates. And we got this huge Airbnb on the beach, and all of our moms got an Airbnb like right next door. So they were like, cook us food, and we'd go hang out with them. And that was really fun. And I'm glad I did the marathon. No serious injuries, after it. So that was good. I'm very surprised. But yeah, I definitely did not expect to, not have the time to train for it. But I just did it, and yeah.
I know you said running is a more efficient use of your time now for the most part, but was the marathon something you enjoyed? Is that something you think you might do again? Because obviously a very different kind of competition than swimming, but also just kind of a different zone of state of being, right? While you're doing it.
Yeah, I definitely think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I had trained. I really enjoyed the half marathon. Like, I think that's a good distance for me. It's like manageable. You can train for it. You don't have to go on long 20-mile runs on, weekends. You can just kind of do, 6 to 8 miles, and that'll suffice for training. So I think half marathons are going to be where I really like to compete, because it is fun. And I do get that, like, the runner's high, like I haven't felt that in a while from swimming, like a good hard swim workout where you just come out of it and you're just like so happy, and you're in a good mood, and you don't even know why you do know why. It was from the workout, but as exhausted as you are, you're in a good mood. And I get that from running. And so I definitely think I'll continue to pursue running, like at least half marathons, and maybe one day work my way into Ironmans or like half Ironmans. I think would be fun. But yeah, time is the biggest limiting factor there.
Sure. So just looking ahead a little bit in terms of med school, you're sorry. You're in your second year, is that correct? And how long is this process? Not having been a medical student myself.
Yeah, so it's 4 years of medical school, so I'm almost halfway there. 2 years preclinical, we're just in the classroom, learning all the basic sciences, but also like pathologies of diseases and everything like that. And then we take our first like board examination, step 1 in around February, March of next year. And then in May, we start clinical. So we'll just be in the hospital or different like settings where you are in different rotations, and you kind of work your way throughout them. And then you go on to residency. So 4 years medical school that are 2 preclinical years, 2 clinical years, and then you apply for residency. And depending on what you go into, it could be anywhere from 4 to 8 years. And then after residency, then you can go get a job and be a real doctor.
Do you have any idea or inclination of what kind of doctor you would like to be?
Yeah, I don't really know yet. I'm still keeping an open mind. I came into medical school thinking dermatology. I still like dermatology, but after my experience in anatomy lab our first semester, I think I really like surgical specialties. So I worked at MD Anderson over the summer. I really like working with the cancer population, so maybe some kind of surgical oncology, or maybe just surgery, or surgical oncology via like ENT, head and neck. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to keep an open mind. I really love everything I've seen and done. I've genuinely and thoroughly enjoyed. So I think the third year, when we start in the clinicals, will be a good experience to really, kind of nail down what I want to do and what I want my future career to look like.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.